here. So only in Joe Biden's America does the United States pay terrorists stimulus money. Only in Joe Biden's America are lawmakers warned that stimulus money will go to terrorists, rapists, murderers, and even child molesters, and yet every single Democrat lawmaker votes to make it happen. We can confirm it has. Remember the Boston bomber, Johar Tsarnaev? He murdered 3 people and terrorized a city. That guy on your screen right there got $1,400 from the government, and he's not alone. I went through the congressional record, and I found this testimony dating all the way back to April 15th, traditional tax day of all days, right? Here's the federal prisons director confirming COVID stimulus checks going to federal inmates.
We've processed over right about 22,000 checks for about $19 million. We worked with the IRS, the Department of Justice Tax Division, and the Executive Office of the United States Attorneys to ensure that those inmates who were receiving those checks, that we worked through that and they received those checks.
Could you use part of that 19 million? I know I could. Inmates are getting it? Come on. That amounts to, by the way, about 1 out of every 6 federal inmates receiving a $1,400 stimulus check. And if that inmate owes money, restitution, like Tsarnaev does, $101 million is owed to his victims, the government does not automatically seize that cash, not even from the stimulus handouts.
To my knowledge, the government, we don't assess that, but we're not taking money from an inmate. There's a record of this. Everything is screened and gone through the policy as appropriate.
That's insanity. It's ridiculous, but typical for this government. So the Boston bomber has only paid back $2,200 of the more than, as I said, $100 million that he owes. Just this week, prosecutors asked the court to confiscate all $3,885 in the Boston bomber's prison account. It's about time. But he's just an example of all of this. Remember, 21,999 other prisoners, other men and women who have victimized someone, also got a check. The government hasn't seized that money. What does that say about a party, the Democrats, who put criminals over victims and do it time and time again? Every Republican, by the way, voted against this bill that allowed these payments, all right? Clearly, Democrats are more concerned about the well-being of violent thugs or a terrorist than they are about innocent people in America. In the name of compassion, which is actually weakness and even idiocy, the Democrats are getting people beaten up, robbed, even killed. It is because of the coddle the criminal mentality that crime is skyrocketing in the nation's weak-on-crime liberal cities across this country. Just listen to this wingnut of a new district attorney in New York City. His name is Alvin Bragg.
It just depends upon your definition of a criminal. And for all too long, we kind of dealt with this othering of, anyone we put in jail is a criminal.
Well, who else are you putting in jail? That's where criminals are supposed to go. See, in his memo of what crimes he will not prosecute, check this out. It includes resisting arrest, interfering with cops unless somehow part of a larger felony case, he says, is okay. The worst is this: armed robbery of a store, a felony, will be downgraded to misdemeanor larceny. And this is insane, all right? He says he'll do this if the force or threat of force consists of displaying a dangerous instrument or similar behavior, but does not create a genuine risk of physical harm. Has that man never, ever been around firearms or weapons of any kind? He doesn't understand that brandishing a firearm, pointing a gun at someone, it always creates a genuine risk of physical harm. You see, these leftists are nut jobs. Criminals in New York, they've got to be celebrating. Those criminals not in New York, I promise you, they're headed to New York right now as we speak. See, Bragg just encouraged people to commit crimes. He's incentivizing thugs to move to New York. And as for jail time, no such thing under his watch, apparently.
Why not, I ask, and we're going to do, get that person what they need so we can get them out of the system so we can focus on things like guns and sexual assaults. This is both humane and fair. We'll get people the services they need, and it's going to make us safer because they're not going to keep cycling in and out of the system, and we'll have more bandwidth to do guns and sexual assaults, where we've reduced incarceration and crime. That's the goal. They're inextricably linked.
Bandwidth, he says. You know what the bandwidth will be for the criminals? They're back free to victimize all of you. He's an idiot, that man. So the arrogance of the left, okay? We see it with every one of these billionaire George Soros installed district attorneys. They think, Alvin Bragg's a great example of this, they think they're above the law. See, a district attorney takes an oath to not just uphold the Constitution, but to enforce the laws on the books of whatever state he's district attorney in. Only the state legislature can change these laws and penalties. But you have district attorneys now making an end run around the state legislature and crafting their own laws and penalties. That guy Bragg put it in writing in a memo. He literally changes what the legislature set out. That, folks, is a dictatorship, a banana republic, a farce. What it is not supposed to be is America. But sadly, in the left's topsy-turvy nation, they are transforming. It's reality. Criminals are treated now like victims, and victims, well, they're simply ignored.
Grant Stinchfield is on Newsmax every night, fighting for the America First agenda.